me pull up South by Southwest's response here to Hasan, Pikers, and Cenk's bans. They're being blocked from going to the UK. Okay. All right. Hold on a second. Hasan, Piker, and Cenk Uyghur were hold on. What? Were refused entry into the UK, but Israeli officials who support the genocide in Gaza have been allowed in. Yes, of course. Both political commentators received news that their UK travel authorization was revoked, but in 2025, UK welcomed Israeli President Isaac Herzog, and that's despite Herzog's justifications for the genocide in Gaza. UK Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood claimed that Hasan and Cenk's presence in the country was not considered to be conducive to the public good. So the Home Office revoked their visas.
I already had a visa, and they apparently pulled it. They had nothing on me that is in violation of British law in any way, shape, or form. They couldn't even charge anti-Semitism. But they said my criticism of Israel is by definition anti-Semitic, and hence I must be banned. So I didn't get banned for criticizing the United Kingdom. I got banned for criticizing Israel in the United Kingdom.
Cenk said he arrived at the airport for his flight to the UK when he received news that his visa was revoked.
Ironically, they said, well, the way you criticized Israel was that you said it controls the American government. And since we're the British government, we're not allowing you to criticize Israel. So you see how we are not controlled. No, I don't see that. Actually, that's deeply ironic. It sounds like you are. And I hadn't said you, I said the American government. That's because 94% of Congress has taken contributions from the Israeli lobby. That is true.
Yeah, mind you, they got Nazi rallies going on over in the UK, similarly to here in the US, and they don't do anything about Nazis on their streets.
Israel is a fascist country, and it gets to enforce its bidding upon other countries, and in an effort to abide by the wishes of a foreign country like Israel, the Western liberal democracies that are supposed to protect and preserve speech, even if they don't have a First Amendment like we do here in the United States of America, they're supposed to have reason, like good reason. This is not one of them. This is not one of them. Being critical of Israel while effectively combating anti-Semitism is not a good enough reason to bar someone entry into the country.
Yeah, and look, this is the larger issue of censorship that we have seen increasing. We have seen an increase in laws that are actually censorship laws that are disguised as child safety protection laws, internet protection laws. And it is a rise in censorship that we have seen, not just here in the United States, but of course, you know, this is a big example in the UK and across a lot of Europe. In Australia, we have seen these censorship laws pass, and this is part of that. So to be clear, Cenk and Hasan are targeted, especially Hasan because of how prominent he is, targeted often due to their anti-Israel speech. But this is not just specific to the issue of Israel and Palestine. This is about a rise in authoritarianism across the board. So it's not just speech that is anti-Israel that is being targeted, which I think people, for the most part, understand that this is about the larger free speech censorship issue. Okay, but wait, they banned straight men during Pride Month. The UK Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has barred controversial Twitch streamer Hasan Piker and his uncle, broadcaster Cenk Uyghur, from entering the UK. The move means they will be unable to attend the South by Southwest London, where they were scheduled to be speaking. Reps for the Home Office confirmed to Variety that Piker and Uyghur's electronic travel authorization had been revoked on the grounds that their presence in the UK may not be conducive to the public good. Decisions to refuse or cancel an ETA on these grounds are based solely on an assessment of the potential risk an individual may pose to UK society. An ETA allows travelers to enter the UK without a visa for up to 6 months. The Home Office added that where applications require further consideration, individuals may choose to apply for a visa if they still wish to travel to the UK. In a statement on Twitter, Uyghur wrote, "I've been banned from the UK. I tried to get on a flight to London to attend South by Southwest and give a speech at Oxford. I've been banned for criticizing Israel. Are we free anymore? This is oppression of Western citizens by our own governments on behalf of a different country." The social media personality responded to his uncle's post with his own message saying, "The UK has revoked my visa as well, all at the behest of Israel. The West is betraying liberal values for a genocidal fascist foreign government. Soon we will all become Israel. I'm Israel High." Piker was due to appear at South by Southwest London on a panel titled "How the American Left Learned to Speak the Internet," while Uyghur was set to speak on "Techno-feudalism is here. Who are the lords?" The Times of London reported Mahmood's decision was based on Uyghur's recent exchanges with Piers Morgan, in which he made concerning comments about the UK's grooming gang scandal and that his presence would risk exacerbating anti-Semitism due to his rhetoric since the October 7th attacks in 2023. But totally fine to welcome in genocidal leaders. Totally fine. But the risk of exacerbating anti-Semitism because of prominent figures who are outspoken in criticizing Israel's actions. Well. He's also denied the genocide in Armenia and is said to have made misogynistic slurs in the past. Piker also has a history of making inflammatory statements, saying America deserved 9/11 and voicing support for prescribed terror group Hamas. Okay, so here's what South by Southwest London said. "We are aware that Cenk Uyghur and Hasan Piker are unable to travel to the UK following a decision by the Home Office. They will therefore not be participating in the South by Southwest London program this year. Decisions on entry to the UK are a matter for the Home Office and the individuals concerned. South by Southwest London's role is to convene a broad range of diverse voices and perspectives. We remain focused on delivering a program this week, fostering open dialogue and exchange of ideas, and featuring more than 800 speakers, artists, and screenings." Fucking cowardly bullshit. A completely cowardly response to what amounts to an act of pure censorship. This is Ash Sarkar, who was supposed to chair the discussion at South by Southwest, said, "First of all, South by Southwest must facilitate a way for Cenk and Hasan to contribute remotely as a bare minimum refusal to comply with government censorship. Secondly, it's abundantly clear that the UK government has put Israel at the heart of its policymaking around free expression. Whether it's proscribing Palestine Action as a terrorist group, arresting hundreds of people for holding signs supporting it, or banning Cenk and Hasan from the UK for speech acts, which would not be unlawful in this country, what we're witnessing is an authoritarian turn motivated by Labour's fear of being called anti-Semitic." I mean, remember what they did to Jeremy Corbyn. "And fear of being called out for their position on the genocidal war on Gaza. The Labour government doesn't give a shit about community cohesion. Every time they ban someone, whether they're from the left or from the right, from entering the UK, they're creating resentment, suspicion, and blame, which everyone can point out, because everyone can point out an example of something from the other side who has expressed things which they find offensive, controversial, or hateful, and say this is evidence of preferential treatment. So with Cenk and Hasan having their visas revoked, what are people going to do? They're going to look at things which are absolutely true. Example, that those who served in the IDF and may have been participants in or witnesses to war crimes can travel to the UK freely. Or that the government argued for Maccabi Tel Aviv hooligans with their storied record of violence and racism to be able to come to Birmingham. or that there are many journalists, such as our own Melanie Phillips, who can say things like, there's no such thing as the Palestinians, and happily have columns here and travel as they wish. And there's going to be a percentage of people who go way beyond seeing this as the result of UK foreign policy, political short-sightedness, pro-Israel lobbying, and pervasive racism against Arabs. They'll instead offer anti-Semitic explanations blaming Jewish control of institutions. What Keir Starmer's government is doing may as well be designed to create an anti-Semitic backlash in this country, putting Jewish people of all political beliefs squarely in the frame to absorb blame and hatred for things that this government has done. You don't foster community cohesion by having the government ban people from speaking. The role for the state is to set a reasonable bar, no incitement, no libel or slander, and let the people contest ideas between themselves. Yeah, and now I think Ash has announced that she is dropping out. Yeah. I pulled out of South by Southwest London because of South by Southwest's response, where they were basically like, well, what, yeah, it's, you know, it's up to the home office. Sorry, we've got more important things to do. Cutie, thank you for the gifted. Having read the South by Southwest statement on Hasan and Cenk being denied entry to the UK, I'm afraid I have to withdraw my participation. If I were in their shoes, I would hope that any organization which invited me to speak and had their programming interfered with by the Home Office would have had the minimal expected integrity to offer some defense of lawful free expression and condemn government overreach. Thank you for your invitation. Yeah, that is honestly what more people should do. They need to follow suit. I know Zara Rahim, who was instrumental on Zoran's campaign. She was set to join on this panel, and she offered this rebuke. The entire premise of our panel was rooted in examining why audiences increasingly distrust institutions, gatekeepers, and traditional power structures, political discourse, and whose voices are permitted legitimacy in public life. There's an obvious irony in hosting a conference about the future of media, democracy, dissent, and political power while responding so cautiously to the banning of one of the most influential political commentators from even entering the country. I appreciate everyone's time and the work that went into putting this together, but under the circumstances, stepping away feels like the only option for me. Yeah. How the fuck do you invite Hasan to speak on this panel about the future of media, democracy, free speech, dissent in this current era? And then when he is banned from entering the country, your response is dismal. Your response is so pathetic. You might as well not even have responded. Unbelievably embarrassing.
Left-wing YouTube pundit Cenk Uygur banned from entering the UK. Yeah, it's... Okay, well, I didn't want to talk about it, but my visa has also been revoked.
Well, at least Will Neff doesn't have to fight off people asking him if he's going to go to UK, if he's going to go to London anymore. Will Neff, who hates the UK, and I believe he's looking at this now and going, well, thank God no one's going to ask me if I'm going to London anymore.
We just found out. Yes, I will not be going.
No. Sorry, that was a joke. Will has not been banned. Will's not been banned. He wishes he was banned.
As it stands currently, I don't believe that I'll be able to go to the United Kingdom this upcoming week. I don't know who to reach out for this. I was supposed to do something with Yanis Varoufakis, do something with Zach Polanski, do something with Jeremy Corbyn, do something at the Oxford Union, and now...
Also, the Labour Party has been a major force in driving this legislation that is disguised as internet safety for kids, but is actually very aggressive censorship and is restricting speech. So this is not this is not an anomaly here. This is on course with what the Labour Party has been doing concerning speech and censorship.
The Labour government has...
Oxford Union had a good statement. Let me see. From the president of the Oxford Union, Arwa El-Reyes, the Oxford Union intended to host Cenk, Uyghur, and Hasan Piker on June 6th for discussion and head-to-head event with our members. We are deeply concerned by the revocation of both speakers' electronic travel authorizations on the basis that their appearance would not be conducive to public good. Also, what the fuck does that mean? These events had been publicly announced for months. This 11th hour call signals much more than democratic decline. It's a direct threat to free expression. The Oxford Union was founded on one principle, that ideas are challenged through debate, not silenced by decree. We have never turned a speaker away because of their political beliefs, nor have we sought a permission slip from the state. We will not start now. This event will not be canceled. The union will ensure this discussion takes place. Free speech does not require a visa. We will update our members shortly. Free speech has not been abolished in the UK and will jail anyone who says it has been. Yeah, this is how you put out a statement. Okay. Hasan's nutritionist. Thank you for the bits. But as I mentioned, South by Southwest is majority owned now by the right-wing billionaire Penske family. They are major Trump supporters. They are Zionists. And they have taken majority ownership of South by Southwest. And that is also why we've seen South by Southwest sign deals with the military when they were doing like army ads with South by Southwest, which sucks because South by Southwest was a beloved indie festival in Austin. And then there's also other locations, like obviously in London here. And like so many institutions, independent institutions has been taken control of by right-wing billionaires. It's not a new thing. This has been ongoing, but yeah, it's a real disappointment. The decision to prevent Cenk and Hasan from speaking in the UK is alarming and demands a clear explanation from the government. So this is the Labour Muslim Network statement. Given the significant public interest surrounding the case, the government should provide a clear explanation of the basis on which this decision was made and the factors that led to the cancellation of their travel permissions. Support for Palestinian rights, criticism of the actions of the Israeli government, and advocacy for international law and human rights must never be grounds for exclusion from public debate in the United Kingdom. Muslim communities and all those who speak out on matters of human rights and international justice must have confidence that decisions of this nature are applied fairly, consistently, and transparently. Obviously, they would never in a million years do this to somebody who is a Zionist, to specifically a Jewish Zionist. And imagine if they did but they wouldn't, obviously they would not. But in the instance that they did, this would be like, you know, every politician in the United States would be standing up. No, most of them, the Israeli supporters, would be standing up to talk about how this is a clear-cut example of anti-Semitism. Even if they were to ban a Zionist who's non-Jewish, they would still say anti-Semitism. Just one more, I'll say it again. They were arresting grannies for holding pro-Palestine signs. Yeah, people who were wearing shirts that said "from the river to the sea." If an IDF soldier came to talk about why ethnic cleansing was good, they would welcome them. Yes. And then they would also cast them on shows on HBO. Cutie, thank you for another gifted.
Revoked our visas. Go to Ireland. Okay, guys, it's not about being in the vicinity of the UK. I was supposed to do in the UK. Yeah.
Classic
chat. A
chat.
sad state of affairs where obviously the interests of Israel take the highest priority. But yeah.
Just go to Ireland.
They've revoked my visa.
It's okay, King.
Well. It's a 40-minute flight is what I meant. Politicians fly over there all the time for press stuff. Dude, what are you talking about? I had like actual things to do in the UK.
Like, I can't say enough. I know that South by Southwest is just one part of it here, but obviously as somebody who loves film and film festivals, and South by Southwest is where a lot of my favorite films have premiered at, to see this once beloved iconic cultural institution be taken over by this right-wing Zionist billionaire family and totally be remade into a corporate institution is depressing as all fucking hell. It's really depressing.
It's so funny. You guys are like, dude, just swim across the canal, take a boat and enter illegally. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Also, PMC owns, they now have Rolling Stone, Variety, Billboard, Hollywood Reporter. They have bought up so many publications, which has led to, which is not just Penske that's doing this, but is an overall trend of the shrinking of editorial independence, the consolidation of media and cultural institutions into the hands of right-wing billionaires.
Do that. I'm not going to risk getting deported and not entry into the country for 10 years. Can Jeremy Corbyn do anything about it? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. Dear Hasan Dawn Piker, your UK ETA has been canceled. This means you cannot travel to the UK without a visa. This is because your presence in the UK is not considered to be conducive to
the amount of editorial control they exert is getting stronger too. Yes, it's more transparent. You can see it with Washington Post. You can see it with Penske-owned media. You can see it with, obviously, CBS. Obviously, the Barry Weiss dismal takeover and destruction of 60 Minutes and CBS. But seeing how clearly the Ellisons' interests are reflected in CBS's current state, that, yeah, it is much more, it is much clearer.
public good. You cannot appeal this decision. Apply for a visa. If you still want to travel to the UK, you need to apply for a visa
white
so we can
billionaires
consider
are
your
actually
circumstances
cool and
in more
awesome.
detail. Having your ETA canceled does not mean you will be refused a visa.
There was someone in here saying, did Hasan get the right visa? Whoever that was, please go into his chat next time he streams and ask him that. Because I guarantee he'll see it. And I'm sure he will be very nice about it.
Nick Shirley can go, though, of course, because Nick Shirley is a dog for the fascist state. Yeah, it's sad, man. What are you going to do? The other day, someone said, watch Labor Party do this a couple days before your trip, and it happened. Yeah, I genuinely, listen, I'm going to say something. This is a warning. I hope you guys understand. The Western world and liberal democracy is a sham. And all of the supposed things that they claim to care about, they do not actually care about. We are moving into a very different timeline. This is why I constantly reiterate that fascism is here, right? Like the administration trying to deploy subpoenas against political dissidents in the United States of America, or the UK that's like completely captive to the interests of pro-Israel advocacy organizations. Like they are moving in a way, and this is the liberal government, right? The Labor government is supposed to be the liberal government doing.
I mean, look, I got to shout out Taylor Lorenz, who has been one of the singular reporters in the tech space, who has been for years trying to ring the alarm bells on all of this tech censorship and tech policy. And she's trying to get people to connect the dots, and especially on the left, explain, hey, this is not singular to Israel. I know that everyone has a lot more awareness now of Israel's power and Israel's relationship with the United States, but this is not unique to people who are expressing anti-Israel speech. This is an attack on all speech that is seen as dissident, that is seen as a problem, and those who are expressing it as a problem to the people in power. So it is why she has tried very hard to get leftists to pay attention to tech policy and to all these bills and all this legislation that is being slipped under people's noses. Legislation that is passed in Australia, in the UK, in the United States, and they're trying to push for more of it. And they are succeeding because not enough of the left is paying attention to this and connecting the dots. And a lot of other people are swayed by the moral panic language that's being employed and is very effective. And people believe that this is aimed at curtailing big tech's power, protecting kids online when it's not, and trying to get people to understand the dire state that free speech is in, that free speech online is in, has I know been a challenge for Taylor. Taylor should probably happen. Shout out for Taylor should probably happen every stream, not just because of this, but she has her finger on the pulse of all the internet issues happening. Truly, look, you might not agree with Taylor on everything. That's fine. You might not personally like her. You know, there are people who don't personally like me, but I would hope that they would still listen to me on issues that I know a lot on. Please read Taylor's extensive reporting on this. She has so many YouTube videos. She is like one of the number one experts at reporting on this really, really dangerous censorship. This is what happens in my state in Australia. And the other thing is that Israel supporters, which includes plenty of liberals, they see this stuff, and because they think this is just about Israel and Palestine speech, and they support Israel, so they are supporting the curtailing of free speech on from those who advocate for Palestinian liberation, they think that this is great, and they don't see how censorship will also be affecting them. That will be coming, these laws that will be affecting their ability to express their beliefs. A protest leader was arrested after explaining the meaning of "from the river to the sea." Yeah. And again, I think a lot of the attention goes to these instances that not just this is obviously the overall treatment now from Western institutions and governments towards pro-Palestine supporters, but they pay attention, or the attention is on how this is affecting pro-Palestine advocates. But there are a lot of examples of this already happening to speech that is not related to Palestine, because the rise of authoritarianism is affecting all progressive speech, all anti-fascist speech, all groups, all marginalized groups, all people, and all speech that is aimed at challenging authoritarian power.
This, and the American government is the right-wing government doing it. Like,
look what happened with the Charlie Kirk shit.
We are in the 1930s era where I think that the administrations in both the UK and the United States of America, regardless of like their supposed ideological differences, are absolutely moving as a uniparty. And things are going to get even worse from here on out. Yes, I was supposed to fly to the UK Tuesday. I was supposed to fly to the United Kingdom on Tuesday. I was supposed to speak at the Oxford Union alongside Cenk. I was supposed to speak at South by Southwest. And also
the fact that the UK now is threatening Americans with barring them from the country, arresting them, etc., for speech that they are making in America. So obviously, the current government in America is in league with this, but America needs to push back on Americans being threatened, being arrested, being barred for speech that is being made in America, the country that brags about how we are the most free country in this world. And what we're seeing is this censorship regime in the UK being exported out. So this situation here is a result of the UK's growing regime aimed at curtailing speech online.
Do another interview with Yanis Varoufakis. But Jewish groups call on UK to bar dangerous Hasan Piker amid anti-Semitic attacks. And they did. Because Israel advocacy organizations...
Was this Fox News? Again, how the fuck do you say Hasan Piker and Cenk Uyghur are not conducive to the public good because they could... having them in the UK could lead to a rise in anti-Semitism. And here you have Fox or whatever else saying Jewish groups call on the UK. So how are then people expected, people who are not staunchly anti-Zionist in the way that they make the difference between Judaism and Zionism, whatever, how are people expected to not then go look at this and go Jewish and conclude Jewish control, which is something that Hasan always pushes back against. So to see the pro-Israel publications here specifically say Jewish groups call on UK to bar dangerous Hasan Piker amid anti-Semitic attacks.
Have unbelievable amounts of power over what even the United Kingdom has to say and do. Yeah, if you're an avowed anti-Zionist, your travel will be restricted. It's totally ridiculous, dude. And no, this is not an opportunity for you guys to say, go to France or go to other countries, okay? It's very, very shitty. I genuinely did not think this would happen. I'll be honest. You have enough clout now to set the
Just go
narrative.
to
They turn you
Japan,
away.
dude.
The
You
UK
love
arresting its
Japan.
elderly for protesting and supported genocide wasn't enough for Keir Starmer. Now the pro-genocide Labour Party is denying entry to anti-genocide tourists. If anything, you should fly out and make it a major news event. What are you talking about, brother? No, I'm not going to... They won't put me on a flight if I don't have a visa. You don't know what you're talking about. If the Labour government is actively denying a visa that they already issued to me, because we got the visa and they revoked it, you can't get on a flight. It's not how that works.
Do they understand that Cenk went to the airport and got turned away? And that is what I think led to Hasan checking his status, because what would have happened is Hasan wouldn't have checked were Cenk not denied. So he and Marsh would have left to go fly to London and then been turned away.
Just like fly. I've been banned from the UK. I tried to get a flight.
What if he just drives there instead? Honestly, something to consider.
I tried to get on a flight from London to attend South by Southwest London and give a speech at Oxford. I've been banned for criticizing Israel. Are we free anymore? This is oppression of Western citizens by our own governments on behalf of a different country. Yeah, that's when I found out as well.
Let's not forget the recent attacks on the Jewish community started with an attack on a Muslim, then only Jewish leader of a British party. Zach Polanski was raked over the coals for pointing this out.
Wouldn't let Cenk on the flight. At least they didn't let him fly into the country and then deport him. If you can't address Oxford Union in person, can you not interact via Zoom? No, it's not the same. And I don't know what these guys are going to do anyway. Rima Hassan was refused a visa to Canada 2 months ago. Yeah, well, Canada is different because I'm an American citizen. I'm not French. So
also what people need to understand is that this is not simply a matter of physically barring people like Hasan and Cenk from entering a country. This is related to this internet censorship regime that the UK has been advancing, that the United States has also been advancing, and when there is success when there is success in the UK, that is affecting other states where they too are trying to push the censorship regimes, and it's impacting the other Commonwealth countries as well. Yes. So this is not just well, it's okay because you can just go online and zoom in. Well, sure, maybe that is an option here. It's not the same as he said, but also we're talking about the fact that they are actively working to keep suppressing speech online. So it's not just a matter of physically barring people from coming into countries. It is in tandem with blocking this speech, with punishing this speech online.
I mean, they might do this.
I'm in the UK and I had to prove my age to play Minecraft.
Now that the Commonwealth has established the precedent, this could also potentially limit my travels to Australia, which I was planning to go to. Weren't you let in already once under Starmer? Yes. I've been to the UK on numerous occasions, and all of the stuff that they're complaining about, I said and freely entered the country. Like all the stuff I said
Marsh's
prior,
visa revoked?
the
I
things
don't
that
know.
they're like complaining about were things that I had said already, and they didn't have any issues with my travel into the UK. So yeah, we've had warnings. It's just time now. Everything else has been 0 to 100. This is what we've learned. We cannot be shocked when history has been playing in front of us in lockstep. As a nation, we have been quiet and idle, which allows it. Yeah, this is straight up fascism. Israel is a fascist country, and it gets to enforce its bidding upon other countries. And in an effort to abide by the wishes of a foreign country like Israel, the Western liberal democracies that are supposed to protect and preserve speech, even if they don't have a First Amendment like we do here in the United States of America, they're supposed to have reason, like good reason. This is not one of them. This is not one of them. Being critical of Israel while effectively combating anti-Semitism is not a good enough reason to bar someone entry into the country. Ironically enough, one of my famous speeches that I delivered was at Oxford Union, which is what I was supposed to attend once again, where I warned the Western governments, and I warned those who were worried about anti-Semitism that this dangerous association between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, this conflation.
Does anyone know if we have going to the UK tomorrow? Marsh.
Between Judaism and Zionism was going to create an environment where anti-Semitism would manifest. I was supposed to see you at the Varoufakis event. I'm so pissed. Well, yeah, I'm pissed too. I really was excited to go to the UK. Like I said, I was linking up with Zach Polanski, Jeremy Corbyn, Giannis Varoufakis. I was doing something at South by Southwest. I was going to be there for almost 7 days, dude. We had a week's worth of events and things to do lined up. Yeah. You're a member of the media. Attack against the free press. Oh, 100%. Left-wing YouTube pundit Cenk, we were banned from entering the UK. Turkish-American book to appear at South by Southwest London as travel authorization revoked by Shabana Mahmood after concern over comments about Israel and grooming gangs? About grooming gangs? I'm surprised that they went after Cenk too. It's very obvious that it's like, it's not even just, the fact that it's not just me. Dude, I can't believe it. I cannot believe how much motion Israel has over other countries. Like, what the Meanwhile, speaking of motion Israel has over other countries, we were just talking about Connie Chen.
Okay, and again, important to understand that Israel is cracking down on anti-Israel speech, on pro-Palestine speech, is part of the broader landscape here. So this did not begin post-October 7th when more and more people started to turn against Israel, and the public then shifted largely against supporting Israel. This has been a decades-long project by the Christian nationalist right, by the Christian authoritarian power, And this is what I'm trying to explain is taking prominence because of how prominent the issue of Israel has become. So this has been going on for a long time. A lot of speech-related arrests have been occurring in the UK, speech that's not related to Palestine, speech that is coming from queer people, for example. Queer people are being arrested, are being censored constantly. So it's important to not see this as primarily an Israel and Palestine issue, and to not see Israel as like the driver here, because this was occurring long before October 7th. But obviously, yes, these governments being in line with Israel is a part of it here, but the broader landscape being that this is far right authoritarianism. Australia is terrible, but the UK is
Israel
really
is
bad.
Subverting
Yes.
American democracy once again. Bezalel Smotrich is in the United States of America. Let's take a look. Israel Day Parade in New York City with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, far-right Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, and other far-right Israeli lawmakers and American politicians march on Fifth Avenue. New York City Mayor Zohar Mamdani decided to skip the event. Look at this. They're flexing on us. David Taylor demanded Kneecap be banned from Glastonbury for criticizing Israel, demanded Bob Villan be banned from Glastonbury for criticizing Israel, and is now demanding Hassan Piker be barred from entering the country for, yes, you guessed it, criticizing Israel. That's a Labor guy, by the way. That's a Labor guy. It's a Labor government that banned me. I've literally been to the UK. So ridiculous. Liberal democracy is dead. It was already dying due to how aggressive the contradictions were becoming, how apparent they were becoming. But Israel killed it. Israel is the final blow, straight up. I appreciate Smotrich comparing the parade to Jerusalem Day Flag March. The two are interconnected after all. One is an annual crystal knock for Palestinians. The other exists to support that effort. Yep.
Yeah. According to the Times of London, criticism of Israel played a major role in the ban. The decision to block Uyghur from traveling to the UK is understood to have been based on several grounds, including fears that his presence would risk exacerbating anti-Semitism due to his rhetoric since the October 7th attacks in 2023. This is far from the first time Piker's long history of anti-Israel rhetoric stemming from Israel's ongoing apartheid and genocide of Palestinians has been conflated with anti-Semitism to further the ends of politicians. Last month, two members of the U.S. House of Reps, Democrat Josh Gottheimer and Republican Mike Lawler, introduced a bipartisan resolution condemning the rise of anti-Semitic hate-filled rhetoric. The other thing here, too, is that the groups here that are working to curtail speech and curtail all speech, mind you, but are also pro-Israel groups, there's an element here where they also like to focus on specifically the Israel speech element because of the claims of anti-Semitism, right? This is now the go-to when it concerns any criticism of Israel, the go-to being anti-Semitism. But it's also a way for them to be restricting other speech and targeting others who they are being targeted not specifically for anti-Israel speech because they have drawn all the attention to Israel and to these claims of anti-Semitism. Does that make sense? Where he kind of said what you were referring to at the end there. It was already dying because of the contradictions of liberal democracy, but Israel's the final blow. Right. Where this has been an ongoing project. And so these institutions, these governments that are targeting prominent figures like Hasan and Cenk, and specifically the criticism of Israel playing a major role, they also have the incentive here to keep crying anti-Semitism, not just to protect their alignment with Israel, but also because it then makes this issue about, oh, we are trying to prevent bigotry, a rise in anti-Semitism. And that then also provides a shield from the other speech that they are censoring all kinds of ideas all across the spectrum. And it turns it into, it turns it solely into into protection of Jewish people. Lawmakers in the United States are quietly advancing a proposal that could deepen military ties between the U.S. and Israel in unprecedented ways at a time when public support for Israel among Americans is increasingly fractured. Great. The NDAA, which Congress passes annually to set military policy and authorize defense spending, will undergo further debate and amendments before becoming law. Some legislators have already signaled opposition, with Representative Thomas Massey saying he would seek to remove the provision if it reaches the House floor. So if this passed, it would limit political oversight over the defense relationship. Great. That's what we need. Less oversight, more defense spending, less oversight. This could mark a significant shift in the U.S.-Israel relationship, moving beyond a model centered on American military aid towards deeper institutional integration between the two countries' defense industries and militaries. Critics argue that such a move would make support for Israel less a matter of political choice and more a structural feature of U.S. national security policy, embedding the relationship within joint military and industrial programs that would be difficult to unwind. This also then takes the pressure off of Congress, most of Congress, who, of course, are Israel high, Israel, supporting Israel, because it then allows them to really pass that off to the military, to the Defense Department. Liberalism dying in physical form.
Happy that they are a free country, like Finland, where the free speech is a right, where they have not any restrictions. If they would be in Moscow, they would be in jail. They can be happy that they are a free country, like Finland.
If they were in Moscow, they would be arrested for their speech, but not here in the UK. Or where is this, Finland? An ironic moment occurred when EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen praised Finland's free speech just as a protester was being forcibly removed from the crowd. While addressing a group of loud demonstrators, von der Leyen stated, "You can be happy that you live in a free country like Finland. Here there is freedom of speech and no restrictions. Not like Moscow." The loud activist was fined 110 euros for disrupting the pro-EU rally with his anti-EU statements.
They would be in jail.
Me when I love free speech. Oh my God. Yeah. So, of course, the usual suspects, the free speech defenders, the leftists who hate Hasan Piker are not all. Some of them have made an exception here to be like, listen, I don't like Hasan Piker, but this is wrong and I can't agree with this. But others are, of course, going, yay, Yahoo. Yeah, like Anna Kasparian making sure to take the time to first say how much she does not like Hasan, but then saying that she does not support this, where it's like, wow, thank you so much, Anna. Which, if this happened to Tucker Carlson, Anna would not start off her statement by saying, I don't like Tucker Carlson. She would say, as somebody who is great friends with Tucker Carlson and deeply admires his courage, I cannot stand for this censorship. She did defend him against false claims, though. I would fucking hope so. I would fucking hope so. But she still cannot help but to make sure that everyone knows that she thinks Hasan is a little rat. Yeah, the bare minimum. Wow. Got her shot in before she talked about him on TYT. Or Jill Filipovic, who is, I don't know who's more obnoxious, Shannon Watts or Jill Filipovic, but Jill, who was like, look, I think Hasan Piker and Cenk Uyghur are absolute morons, anti-Semites, blah, 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 blah. But this is wrong, barring them from the UK. And it's like, hey, I know that Jill is fucking brain dead on this issue, but continuing to perpetrate this idea that criticism of Israel is anti-Semitism, that's what these governments who are barring Israel critics are using as their argument. Okay? Hello?
From the UK, but can I start off with something a little different? So we're going to talk about Cenk and Hasan getting banned from the UK, but I see this as part of a broader campaign targeting you, Haas, because I don't like being put in a situation where I have to defend you. I'm just going to keep it 100. But Dave Rubin went on a show and claimed.
Wait, I didn't even realize he was on TYT and she got that dig in.
That you harassed me and other women at work, which was a brazen lie. Can I start off with something a little different? So,
oh God, Anna, when you have more love for people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson than you do your own co-host nephew, who the reason that she hates Hasan is because Hasan surpassed TYT. Because Hasan reached the point that Anna and Cenk thought they were going to. That's where they believe they should be. It is despite other despite what Anna will say about why she doesn't like Hasan, it's that. I mean, she's also kind of said that too, though. She's not even 10 seconds into talking to him and already has said this. Yeah. She's like, he's a spoiled fucking ungrateful brat who doesn't deserve to have what he has. The problem is TYT isn't radical enough and they know it. Yeah, I mean, TYT is, as I said, friendlier, and by TYT I mean Cenk and Anna, friendlier to people like Tucker Carlson than they are to leftists who challenge them when they are being fucking right wing. Which is just really embarrassing and completely showing their asses.